Hello, hello. We are coming to you live from the four corners of the United States of America, the Beehive State, the crossroads of the West. We're in Salt Lake City, Utah this week. Welcome to the show. Just a little peek behind the curtain here. The Anchorage corporate planning team is at an offsite this week here in Salt Lake City, and they have brought me along in my actual job capacity at this company, which is as an itinerant mascot. That means I'm in an Airbnb instead of the usual bunker that they keep me in, which means Airbnb Wi Fi and running this entire operation off of an angry sounding company laptop at the moment. So this could fall apart at any moment here. But until that happens, and I'm forced to finish this stream on terrestrial radio, I am your host, Casey, and I already know what you're thinking. And yes, the DNS block on my schedule this week is for my audition for the vacant spot on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is the Anchorage Vibestream. We're live every Wednesday, noon Eastern, 10 a.m. Mountain, 9 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Portugal, and midnight in Singapore. Watch and listen while you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, your midnight snack, or whatever it is people eat at 10 in the morning in the Mountain Time Zone. We are always live on X and on YouTube. We're talking stablecoins today, folks, and we brought in some of the sharpest guys in the biz. Let's bring them in. We've got Laert, Skreli, and Emanuele Rossi. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hey, folks.
Hey.
Good afternoon.
Let's introduce them. My first guest today is Laert Skreli. Laert is head of BD and partnerships at M0, the modular infrastructure layer that lets companies design, launch, and scale their own stablecoins. Before this, Laert had over a decade in consumer finance with Synchrony and Bread Financial, which he helped grow before it was acquired for a cool $450 million. Laert, obviously a special guest, and we have to know about our special guests. That's what we do here. We unearthed a school board honors document from Laert's senior year in high school. He was an AP scholar with distinction and an honor student. And in addition to all that academic good stuff, he was a member of his high school's improv club, which is great. I mean, you went to college in Illinois. You were just telling us before the show that you're in Chicago, the home state, the home city of the Second City. So many illustrious comedic personalities. Maybe there's an alternate reality where Laert is a part of the ensemble cast on SNL. With improv chops, we know he's going to be good on his feet. Laert, welcome to the show.
Thank you. You really did your research there, and boy, was that a long time ago.
We dig. Improv was great when it came up. I was beaming. And our second guest today is Emanuele Rossi, head of BD for Stablecoin Solutions at Anchorage. Eamon joined us through Anchorage's acquisition of Mountain Protocol, where he led sales and helped build USDM, one of the first regulated yield-bearing stablecoins. Before that, Coinbase, and before that, institutional sales at Bloomberg. Before any of that, though, and Anchorage people now know this, which is a little annoying for me because I was not at our assembly on Friday. But Emanuele was a competitive swimmer at Florida Tech, casually set 3 separate school records while he was there, 200 free, 500 free, 800 free, relay. And when he joined Anchorage, his own fun fact was he qualified for the Olympic trials. He's also an academic All-American. We love an educated athlete. He's not just there to do sports. Benvenuto, Emanuele.
Yeah.
Good to have you on.
Thank you, Casey. Thanks for the great intro.
Let's get things started. We always start out really simple, and it's good to get to know our guest more first. So, Laert, you spent a decade in consumer finance before landing at M0. Tell us about M0 and what made stablecoin infrastructure feel like the next obvious thing to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, 10 years on the fintech and consumer payment side. Most recently, I led Bread's fintech BD, where I work closely with merchants and partners to stand up bespoke financial products. And something of a parallel really started to bubble up in my head, which was on the traditional finance side. We're able to offer really bespoke financial products at a merchant or a brand level, but then keep those actually interoperable. And that's done via a co-branded card running on major rails. And I think we're at that exact same moment with owned stables, where we're starting to see more and more stables being built and controlled, but we're still really creeping into that interop. And so when I saw what M0 was building, it was kind of the natural next step to join and help bring that vision to life.
This is great. So coming into stablecoins, both you and Emanuele. Let's talk about the market you arrived at, and this question works for both of you. So, Laert, sort of right now, who's showing up to M0 asking to issue a stablecoin that might not have been a couple years ago? And Emanuele, same question from the bank side. Crypto natives were sort of the early adopters. TradFi sort of moves in shortly after. Who's coming to Anchorage to issue stablecoins now?
Yeah, I can start and then I'll let you take it. But we're really seeing demand from all different type of institutional players, whether it's large banking type of groups, whether it's asset management firms, payment companies, fintechs, neobanks, as well as crypto native protocols. I think this is extremely interesting because ultimately all of these businesses use money in different ways to serve their customers and to bring to market unique products and services, and stablecoins are a better form of money. And so the implementation of the stablecoin across these different type of organizations are all very unique type of case studies that we end up working with and partnering on, which is very exciting. The demand is really coming from across the board, all different type of institutions. My expectation is that this demand is only going to keep accelerating. We are building the infrastructure. Anchorage is, M0 is, to make it easy to own the dollars of your stack. And as that infrastructure become more seamless to integrate as ancillary products and services, whether it's a wallet or on and off ramp, and so forth, become easier to integrate, we expect acceleration to take place really at an incredible pace. So we're excited about who we're seeing coming to Anchorage, who we're seeing coming to M0 and Anchorage, and we expect a lot more to show up on that end.
Yeah, I agree. Right. I think demand is across the board. I think there's also it's like a split reality. The ones that were clairvoyant or brave enough to really start to build in 2024 are starting to reap the rewards of being first. But between 2024 and now, you've got quite a bit more regulatory clarity, both in the US and the EU. And then I think what's a funny kind of second order effect of what's happened is we talked so much about the regulatory that we really started to understand the economics of stables. So I think we have such legible and understood economics, and that draws a second set of builders. We are seeing product-led organizations want to build and interweave better money, digital money, directly into their apps. And so I think that's where this is so exciting with Anchorage and M0 together is having that offering and building for these use cases.
I like the term clairvoyant players back in 2024. Were the crypto native firms the sort of clairvoyant people? Is there anybody of, I would say, of interest who might be interesting to discuss, who is clairvoyant enough to sort of hop on the stablecoin train 2 years ago?
I think the most clairvoyant usage, right, was also the safest to a degree. So it was treasury and sort of settlement tokens. And then I think you had a couple dozen crypto native, DeFi native projects that really kind of took the mantle.
Yeah, and I agree. It starts with the use case. You had some stable coins already available in the market for many years. I don't think we need to name names. We all know who are the biggest stable coins in the market at this point in time that built those liquidity network and seamless on and off ramp type of experience. It only makes sense that someone entering the space, understanding the benefits that are presented by the technology, is going to use an existing network, an existing platform, if we want to call it that. And once you integrate the platform, once you understand the platform, then it only makes sense that you try to optimize further. And issuing a stablecoin and capturing the economics of these digital dollars is one way in which you can optimize further. So we started with experimentation and runs on top of existing rails. We've now tested the rails, and we are now moving into an optimization phase. And again, launching a digital dollar is part of that optimization phase.
That's right.
Let's talk a bit more about M0 real quick. Laert, for the moms watching the stream who might be interested in stablecoins, but maybe haven't looked at M0 yet. What does the phrase sort of modular infrastructure layer mean in practice? What is M0 handing a builder, somebody who wants to launch a stablecoin on day one?
Yeah. So first of all, I think M0 as a company is maniacally obsessed with building and making digital dollars useful on chain. So like when we talk about modularity, there's really 4 questions you ask yourself as you build your own stable. The first is who issues it. So M0 today works with 5 issuers, Anchorage being the latest partner we've added. 2, what does that stable do? So that's yield mechanics, that's allow list, blacklist, what on-chain permissions and rules need to apply. 3 is where does it live? What chains does it live on, and what does it do on those chains? We support 16 chains today. And the last, and I think sometimes least talked about because it feels a little further away, is how is on-chain liquidity handled? Like once that dollar is on chain, how does it actually ensure, and how do we ensure that it's worth $1? And we like to think of that offering as being like juxtaposed against a take it or leave it approach against some of the incumbents, which is these are the rules. There's really not much customization. And I think that the world has space for both, but the current, and I think, Emanuele, you said it exactly right. We experimented with what we knew, and now it's an optimization phase of really capturing control of economics and design. So we're really excited about that, and that modularity is something that we take a lot of pride
in. The modularity delineated like that is very good. Since we're here, we announced this partnership in April between M0 and Anchorage. Emanuele, for anyone who missed it, and Laert, hop in here as well. What are both teams building together? M0's modular issuance tech, Anchorage is the sort of regulated stack on top of it. What can a company do now with both sort of powers at their back that it might not have been able to do before?
Yeah, and maybe I can start and just by giving my POV of M0 and why we are very happy to be working with them. There is not many experts yet in the stablecoin space. It's somewhat of a nascent market. Yeah, some stablecoins has been around since 2017 and so forth. But in terms of people that really go deep and think about the products from a very technical perspective, and also are able to connect that technical point of view to a broader money point of view. There is very few folks that are able to connect the dot in that way. Laert, the M0 team, Luca, Greg, Joao, they've been pioneers in the stablecoin space, whether at institutions like MakerDAO back in the days, now Sky, or Circle, really helping create those products. I've really seen firsthand how to build the structures, what works, what doesn't work. And so I think the starting point for us was a mutual understanding that both teams came with the right expertise and with the right approach to building next generation money infrastructure. Once there was the mutual understanding of our talents, expertise, view for the market, then it was really about matching the two teams and the two technologies to bring to market a winning product and a winning offering. It's clear that M0 has built a great infrastructure, great issuance infrastructure with a lot of modularity, with a lot of services that come with an infrastructure, whether ability to lifting and shifting issuers, whether it's the ability to orchestrate various stablecoin flows into an M0 issued stablecoins, yield dynamics, and so forth. Those are all great products and services that they have on their catalog. On our side, we have a very strong regulatory foundation. We have a very strong institutional network and distribution ecosystem, and we know a thing or two about our stablecoin ourselves from a technology perspective. So it was clear that there was work to be done by coming together, and this partnership is allowing us to combine our strengths in order to offer regulated composable stablecoins through an Anchorage plus M0 type of infrastructure and regulatory stack. We've been doing a lot of work on this project and are very excited to be going live with our first few partners over the coming weeks.
Yeah, look, I echo the excitement. I think that the way to think about this is as the prospects and the types of clients that come through the door evolves, so does the offering need to evolve. And this is really the best of both worlds. You have Anchorage's issuance chops and regulatory chops combined with our depth on the smart contract and on-chain orchestration, right? So we're able to really support all use cases as they come up and really also really present as both crypto native and legible to the traditional finance and really kind of heavily regulated spaces, which is very, very important. You have to be an adult in the room that also really understands the pain points that exist on chain. So it's a really, I think, strong marriage.
Yeah, no, the marriage of the sort of on-chain expertise with the regulatory and institutional chops at the same time is a good combo. Let's run through this top to bottom, and you can both divide this question however you like. A company comes to you tomorrow wanting to launch an on-chain dollar. Who does what? What is the sort of like division of how we go from an idea of I want to launch a stable coin to something being deployed on chain?
Yeah, I can kick off and then I'll hand over. But so first of all, the beauty of this partnership is that those can start to happen in parallel, and you are certain that the design will work. From the M0 perspective, we handle all of the on-chain components. So that means the contract deployment, the token design, the chain deployment, depending on what chains are supported and how the token needs to behave on those chains, supporting cross-chain on day one, and then also standing up liquidity and orchestration so that as that stable launches, it is interoperable between M0 stables as well as outside of the network to other majorly traded stables. So that happens knowing that the Anchorage side is working in parallel, and I'll kick it off to Emanuele for the Anchorage part.
Yeah, for us, we're coming in with the licensing and the regulatory reserve management and so forth, and then tapping into the great infrastructure that the M0 team has built in order to bring the product a reality. So really complementary parts of the stack working together to bring to market a best-in-class product.
This is good. I mean, we understand the mechanics now. It's great that things can happen in parallel and you're not fixed on some sort of sequence where you're being pinged between partners and everything can kind of just happen all together. Slightly bigger question. Would either of you say that it's fair to assume that companies might walk in and launch a stable coin like it's I guess like a procurement decision, asking which provider should we use, what's the yield split, how fast can we launch? If that's a pattern you are seeing, what question, and I guess this applies either way, what questions should the, would be stablecoin issuers of the world be asking or come to the table with?
Yeah, maybe I can start. So there is a variety of topics that are always brought up whenever we talk about issuance of stablecoins. Licensing, at least from our point of view, is a critical one. With the Genius Act coming into effect, large institutional players are interested in the licensing side of things. Technology and track record with the technology is another important component. Mandates that you have in the market and that you have won, again, to show commercial track record are also very important. And then ancillary products and services that can be valuable in growing network effects and distribution dynamics for the stablecoins that you're bringing to market. Is this, a one-size-fit-all type of procurement process? No, there is companies that have stablecoin initiatives being led by product teams, companies that are being led by strategy teams, companies being led by treasury teams, and companies that are being led by a combination of these various teams. So it's always interesting to speak with the institutions that we speak with. All of them have usually some type of idea in mind on how the digital dollars and ancillary infrastructure can tie back into what they do from a products and services perspective. And I'd say it's our job to educate on what the stack looks like and why working with us makes sense, but also helping them create use cases that are here for the long term and that can help really add value to the market, to their clients, to the ecosystem.
Yeah, I'd add, I think on the procurement side, it's an interesting space to think through because cost, timing, yield split, those are for sure things that come up, right? And they're line items to discuss. But we all have the advent of this technology we call the blockchain. So things are just cheaper and faster by virtue of that. So the delta between the slowest and the fastest, or the most expensive and the cheapest, is not huge. I think that the difference is, right, as these companies really start to build and think through that, are twofold. One, it's what happens day one and every day after. Like how can I actually adjust? How can I trust my issuing bank and my tech provider to be able to grow this product with me? because most of these POCs, for example, are going to be wrong at first. And that is part of us really starting to learn. So can I trust that the issuer that I use and the tech provider that I use can grow with me? I think that's one. And then two, can this token that I've now issued actually move freely? And because if it can't, then it's just a closed loop gift card, and that's fine, right? That might be an okay use case, but that's not what we're talking about, and that's not where the value is on digitizing the stack. And those are the kinds of questions where part of this is recency and novelty. Like there haven't been enough, for example, projects that have had to move, adjust, or unwind to think about that. And two, some of this is also just learning in real time, and that's what's exciting about M0 and Anchorage. That's the stuff we think about, right? We're building for a 10 to 30 year vision, not a 6 or 12 month POC, and that's what you get, which is I think really energizing to me.
These are both good. I mean, Emanuele, the point about everyone having sort of a different view about how a digital dollar can be integrated. There's something we're definitely going to come back to around use cases, and sort of Laert, your point about clients trying to find to not end up with a closed loop gift card and have value that moves. This sort of gets into our next thing. So let's not go over let's go over the parts most people might skip. So questions for each of you, but feel free to mix and match. So Emanuele, stablecoins, what should ready for production look like in 2026? So if you're advising a founder on what needs to be in place before they issue, what are the must-haves to be ready for production in terms of maybe what they want out of a stablecoin or really whatever? And then I guess Laert, from your side, what might potential clients be missing? So like you said, like are they missing something that might lead them to have to unwind, or they end up with just a digital gift card on chain, or a digital closed loop gift card, sorry. Is it things like making sure value flow across the ecosystem happens? Are they trying to solve for what fiat can't do? Or are they like sort of over indexing on like the fun part? So, I'll turn it over to you guys to discuss.
Yeah, I can start. First of all, it's a new space. It's a brave new world of stablecoins and digital currencies. And so taking the approach of slot machine type of sales is not going to work, and it's not something that we're interested in doing. What we're interested in doing is building durable products that are going to be adding value for our partners and for their clients or for their ecosystem that they're going after. This requires us to deeply understand what these folks that we're speaking with do, what their clients want, what they care about, what the problems are, and then again it allows us to come up with ideas in conjunctions with these founders on how stablecoins can fill these gaps and solve these problems. So that is a critical way to think about how we work with these type of institutions. We are really looking to help them solve problems and help them bring better money, more useful money to the table. So that's the approach. In terms of what checklist items do we need to have in place? Again, it really depends on the use case, what type of market they're going after. Is it a payments company? Is it a crypto native protocol? Is it a bank? Is it a fintech? It really depends. They're all gonna have different integration requirements. They're gonna need different handholding. They're gonna need different products built on top of the stablecoins, and it's our job to deeply understand that stack and ultimately help connect the dots with the product that we are specialized and focused on, which is the stablecoin. Of course, there are other things that we can do to support, whether it's stablecoin orchestration on the M0 side, or bridging, or institutional settlements and custody on our side. But the goal is really to understand fully the picture and then provide a good plan that is going to make the launch a successful launch. In terms of general requirements from a technology perspective, you need smart contracts, of course. You need infrastructure to mint and burn the stablecoin. You need infrastructure to custody the stablecoin, to settle the stablecoin, to move it around. You usually need infrastructure to trade the stablecoin, either against other digital dollars, as the stablecoin orchestration product of M0 does, or against fiat, and that would be a primary market minting and burning of digital currencies. And then there is a lot of work that takes place on the regulatory side, on the banking side, on the legal structuring side. So it really comes down to deeply understanding what the customers want and what their problems are, what the products that they're trying to build are, and then basically putting together a complete stack that, yes, starts with the stablecoin and all of the different parts that bring a stablecoin to market, but that ultimately touches other parts of their operations through wallet orchestrations and so forth. And the goal is really to give them a complete financial platform in the end.
Yeah, you touched on a really important point, which is, day to day when we're speaking to clients, we're not selling software. We're not selling, here's a program and go have fun. We are selling a financial product and financial promise that has to deliver every day. And that requires being the design partner at the top, being the strategy partner at the top, and then everything downstream. And I think that's a really important use case. I think the other piece, right, as part of the requirements you mentioned, is you have to have like sometimes I call them hair on fire problems. You have to have something that current fiat isn't doing well enough, because the best way to kill any sort of trial of this kind is to not have a real use case and validate against an unreal use case. And so the partners, right, where the conversations move the fastest, I think, Emanuele, you'd agree with this, are the ones where they have a clear problem, they know what they're doing, and they're along for the ride. And it's really just us bringing in the expertise on both the technical and the regulatory side to drive it home.
Yeah, it's so true. Sometimes you speak to folks that understand the technology and stable coins and blockchain at a high level. They know that there is something to do, and maybe they need a little bit more hand holding and help in realizing the process. And sometimes you're speaking with people that get it. They know exactly how that's going to fit in their business. And, those are, of course, faster type of conversations where it's going on a self-driving mode type of implementation path. So both are equally interesting. Both have learning lessons, I think, for our teams, and we're happy to work with any institution, really, regardless of the stage in which they are when it comes to stablecoin adoption and implementation.
Yeah,
I sense the through line here is, there is no one size fits all solution, and understanding the use case is just central to everything in terms of building this. Use case is my favorite thing in crypto. So I'll put this to you both. I mean, is there a use case right now in this space that you think is underrated with stablecoins? Is there one that you think is particularly compelling or interesting? Is somebody doing something maybe unorthodox, which is proving to be very effective? I mean, you don't have to name names, of course, but I think use cases are what draw people in. At least it's what draws me in. So.
Yeah, look, I think you're seeing this entire new generation of neobanks realize that they can build a full stack with digital dollars. Like I think that is incredibly compelling and interesting, and it's also we'll kind of have a case study in a couple of years at some business school where they talk about how this entire generation kind of grew through. I think that's really interesting, right? Because it brings to bear this idea that stablecoins are programmable better money, and you can rebuild a lot of the primitives that exist off chain, on chain with them, right? And you have downstream of that tokenized deposits and RWAs. So I think that's one I'm watching. I think the other piece here is we'll start to see the rise of non-USD denominated stables. And that is huge, because the last mile problem from an off-ramping perspective is one part of it, but there's still a huge last mile problem on the FX component. So I think both of those are something that I think very smart people, very smart builders, some of which our partners or prospective partners are thinking through, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, I agree. FX is definitely a very interesting part of the market. We're spending a lot of time thinking about it and thinking about what their future is going to look like. And this is going to be a near-term future, actually. I expect there to be meaningful updates over the next 6 months or so when it comes to stablecoin FX technology. Broader adoption of non-USD currency is going to be an interesting item to follow. I agree on the neobanking side. I think that has been the clearest use case to come up, being able to launch a banking app effectively in a matter of days rather than in years. It's a very powerful feature of stablecoins and blockchain technology, and there is going to be specialization also in these various type of new banking applications. Whether you are a payments company, whether you're an actual banking-like application, whether you are a loyalty type of platform, you're going to have the ability to launch banking-like services for your customers and create new products on top of blockchain rails and the programmability of blockchain technology. I am interested in payments as well. Of course, this is one of the main use cases through which stablecoin started. The good old stablecoin sandwich that the crypto practitioners are probably familiar with, but maybe new entrants might not have heard of. It's proven itself to be a very useful and highly adopted type of way to settle cross-border transactions, and it's going to be interesting to see the different flavors that the stablecoin sandwich is going to have over the coming weeks and months. And then the last thing is how everything is coming together, and this is a very general statement, but thinking about the tokenization, thinking about again tokenized deposits, different type of digital currencies, thinking about integrations of digital asset infrastructure in traditional financial services providers. Everything is accelerating, everything is coming together, and it's going to be very interesting to see how key players like Anchorage, like M0 are going to be able to have a front seat in this transformation of the financial system. So those are a few top of mind things. There is unlimited thing to talk about in the crypto markets. RWAs, tokenized assets, are another interesting area of focus, I'd say. For example, taking a traditional financial product and presenting it through a stablecoin synthetic dollar type of construct. I think it's very interesting, and it's personally why I got very interested in stablecoins. So I think we're going to see a ton more of that. Really, there are unlimited possibilities when it comes to what we're going to see coming to market.
I mean, it's there's a lot of options. I was going to say, what are we looking forward to in the next 18 months for stables? But I mean, FX, neobanking, broader adoption, full payment stacks built on blockchain for just about anyone who wants to, and then just general convergence. Is there anything else you guys are looking forward to in stables in the next 18 months that Emanuele didn't list?
I think real institutional adoption is going to be interesting. I want to see, the biggest financial market infrastructure providers in the world touching stablecoins. That's ultimately what I think is going to be a aha moment for the industry. Okay, this is happening. There are already very large, sophisticated institutions touching stablecoins. It's going to be very interesting once those flows are formalized and once those integrations are up and running, and we are just going to be doing finance on blockchain and stablecoins, and we're not going to be knowing it, right? It's just going to be a migration from a legacy layer over to a modern digital layer for the 21st century. So I'm personally very excited about that. And again, it plays into that broader narrative of everything is coming together and the migration of the financial system, but I think it's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, and I know we say that adoption is 18 months away always, but it really feels like this time is the time, and I say that with full honesty. Yeah, look, I think the thing that will be interesting to watch is the market cap has been sort of flat to kind of sputtering over the last year or so, and I feel like if you look at that cynically, you say, oh, there's no growth happening. But I think we're in this really interesting period of consolidation. And I think that the next rip up will look like you'll see more diversity in who captures market share across stable ownership and who owns, right? What wallets and what holders exist. And I think that gets to the broader institutional adoption perspective. So I'm really looking forward to, hopefully chatting about this in 18 months and saying, okay, we were spot on.
We'll book the show. 18 months.
Good.
This time he means it, folks. But this is good. I like the idea of when if we're doing this right with stablecoins, you won't realize you're doing anything with them at all. I think that's the layer of abstraction. Well, this was great. So it's time for the big dumb bonus question of the week. Stablecoins, tokenized RWAs is where the space is clearly heading. You two deal in the actual mechanics of building a stablecoin, contract design, issuance, reserves. So let's put that to work. We've got too many dollar peg stablecoins and tokenized money market funds already. The people have spoken, and they want on-chain representations of real world assets, the real stuff, not financial instruments. We're talking about hard things you can hold in your hand. So rapid fire, I'm going to give you a list of things that the M0 Anchorage partnership could tokenize. And for each one, tell me, are you tokenizing it? And if you are, how are you designing it? How are you issuing it? And the hard yet very critical and mandatory part, as you know about stablecoins, how are you managing the reserve? I'm going to warn you both. This list gets weirder and worse as it goes down, and there's no going back. So it's really a choose your own sort of risk situation. Are you ready?
I have a counter offer. I think we can say that we do stable coins, and then maybe we can assess ideas based on what you throw at us.
All right. So the first one, the Houston Texans, the football team, they want to tokenize every unsold parking spot at their stadium for the next decade of home games. 26,000 spots per game, however many games a season. What are we thinking? Are we tokenizing parking spots, or do we want to see what else is here?
So my view is that's actually easy, because you can literally just link a parking spot number, which is an entry on a database, to an NFT, and then you create some type of front end through which clients can buy, even with cash if they want, this NFT, and then you can link the NFT to the loyalty account or the login of the customer, and then you can give it to them in a wallet, right? You could create a secondary market around it as well if you want, but I don't think this is the most complex.
No derivatives. You do not build parking spot delivery. That's where I draw the line. As soon as you get into derivatives,
no parking spot derivative. Parking spot derivatives would be a nightmare.
No perps on parking spot.
No parking spot perps.
Please.
All right, next one. Staples. Business supplies. They want to tokenize all the thumbtacks they have in their global supply chain. It's approximately 1 billion. That's about a large 2-story house full of tiny, awkward, pointy things. Are we tokenizing all of global supply chain? Staples. They're a huge company. Are we tokenizing all of their thumbtacks? What do we think? Can we do it?
Hear me out. I think you do, and I think that the reason to tokenize and standardize is there's a real unit cost. I spent a summer doing inventory supply chain, and people would order 500, meaning they thought they were ordering one box to their store, but they were actually ordering 500 pallets. Oh. And we've had trucks move across the country. So there's an interesting piece there. And I think you do it by using just regional warehouses in terms of actually custodying the packets, but you create one unit of account and you track that unit of account and are able to move it quite free. I like this. This is a supply chain use case. This one's interesting to me. I know you threw it as a softball, but I thought this is actually good.
I mean, the next one is basically a supply chain.
Oh no!
Case. Yeah, I mean, it's Taco Bell wants to tokenize their strategic reserve of 10 billion Diablo sauce packets. We did the math, and to put it in Emanuele terms, 10 billion Diablo sauce packets is about 22 Olympic-sized swimming pools of sauce packets. Are we tokenizing the sauce packets? Are we managing the reserves? Are we issuing them on chain? I mean, it's a supply chain thing, right?
Yeah, I think very similar approach, supply chain type of project. But hey, if they want to tokenize it, why not?
We'll do it, yeah.
All right, 2 more. The USDA wants to tokenize a month's worth of milk. That's 20 billion liquid pounds of perishable white gold, $2.3 billion gallons. That fills the sphere in Las Vegas about 5 times. This one's hard because it's perishable, it's liquid. I mean, what do we think?
Yeah, we've seen some similar examples of entities looking to tokenize commodities, and commodities are perishable, whether you're dealing with coffee or grains or else. At some point, if not stored properly, these assets are going to be worthless for the most part. So I think it's a very interesting use case. I think there is a lot of complexity, but I don't know how sustainable the FDA use case would be, but if there is a good commercial reason behind it and a strong enough product to be built around it, why not? Open to exploring.
I'd be more keen on tokenizing cow futures as it relates to, because I think you can. There's reason to bet on cow futures if there are supply chain disruptions, if there's this thing going on. I think the perishable component really scares me here.
The cows also have a natural yield-bearing component, which is the
That's
milk.
Right. That's right.
There you go.
That's true.
Now we're thinking.
Final one. A local electrician has been using ferrets to run cable through tight spaces. He wants people to be able to sponsor a ferret on chain. He has 8 ferrets, a business of ferrets. That's actually the collective noun for a group of ferrets. He wants to issue his business of ferrets. He wants people to be able to adopt them on chain, but harder to store than above. 8 ferrets. Somebody has to take care of them. Assume they all come together. They're a bonded group. Are we tokenizing ferrets? Can we adopt the ferrets on chain? Is this something we can do?
I'm of two minds here. I'm curious what you think here, Emanuele.
I mean, like everything, if they want to tokenizing, they can do it. What's the use case? What's the use case behind it? Like, are they looking to raise funds collateralized by a ferret to buy more ferrets? Is there going to be cash flow tied to the ferret operation?
They're working ferrets. I mean, they probably got to have, vet health insurance kind of thing. That's probably what it covers, I would imagine.
Yeah. Could
That's
be an
a
idea.
real business guy, by the way. He's not saying no. He wants to qualify the deal. He wants to understand what the
exactly. Do we have a use case? Is there cash flow behind the ferret that goes back?
That's right.
That's the key.
This was great. You guys nailed it. All of these seem like great use cases. Emanuele, always great to talk with you. Laert, thank you for joining us today. Before we go, where can people follow you? Where can they follow M0? Anything you want to plug?
Yes, M0 on Twitter is at M0, the number 0, and then I am at Laert, Laert.
Great.
Yeah, and for us, you probably follow already Anchorage Digital. You can find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, all major social medias. I'm on LinkedIn, Emanuele Rossi, and on Twitter, X, Stable Emanuele. So please ping me if you need.
Absolutely. Follow, ping them, talk to them. Thank you guys. Great show. That's all for today. 168 hours till our next episode. That's next week. Same time, same place. Well, same-ish place. Wednesday, noon Eastern on Anchorage X and YouTube. Thank you for watching. Thank you to everyone who helps put this together. Aaron, Kate, Sam, Joe, Mika, and Dwart. Stay tuned to see what's up next week. Say bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, all.
Yeah. Bye.